My neighbor, Ms. Ann Ngatia. You know, South Sudan and Kenya are just neighbors. So I would have made a visit to your center. For those who do not know, South Sudan is implementing the competency-based curriculum. It is still at the starting stage, but we haven't embarked on the implementation of competency-based assessment. So as I saw a list of challenges in Anne's presentation, two things came into my mind. One is that I am tempted to believe that it is doable, and the other feeling is that it is challenging. So given the two challenges of low public confidence and the high cost and the internet.
Last question, and it seems the Ms. Ngatia's paper has generated a lot of interest. She is here with us from NEC. She's in the conference. Please interact with her as much as you can, even after this presentation. I will hand over to the presenters, those who have asked questions, to come and respond.
Okay, thanks once again for those comments and questions. I think we are all learning together as we implement this competency-based curriculum and consequently the assessment. The first one is about parents and monitoring the progress. Like I said before, even for the teachers, when we introduced the use of qualitative reporting, and we are telling them that for formative assessment, let's de-emphasize the ranking, let's de-emphasize the grading. It wasn't very easy, but we have continuously continued to train the teachers on why it is important that in formative assessment, then we don't focus too much on the grading. And also the teachers and the schools, we have also implored on them to continuously sensitize the parents. So it hasn't been easy, but slowly they are coming to terms with understanding that what it means when you say you have met expectation. Because we are working together with the learner, we are working together with the teacher, showing them when you report qualitatively, how beneficial it is, because you identify the gap and you tell them how to actually close that gap. So it is a journey that we are still journeying to make sure that the parents can actually embrace it fully. And I also want to say that in our portal, we also have a module for parents where a parent is able to track the progress of the learner by clicking onto that module and putting their assessment number, and they are able to see whether their child has been able to undertake all the assessments and possibly follow that up with the teacher. I want to say in terms of the question on selection and placement, I want to say that I said that we are focusing more on formative assessment, but we still have summative assessment. So we have not fully done away with quantitative data, but what we are saying is that for formative assessment, we embrace more of the qualitative, using of the rubrics, using of descriptions, using of checklists, which then can be used as feedback to the learner. So when it comes to placement, then we will give a summative assessment, and remember that for each assessment, there is always a purpose. So if the purpose is to place learners, then we will use a different kind of assessment. For example, last year when we did our first head of primary assessment, the initial purpose was to use that particular assessment for placement into junior school. So how we had designed that is that we had designed it in a way that we were to report quantitatively, so that we were able to discriminate and be able to see who goes to which school. However, we could still interrogate even those performance levels and break down them further and assign probably a score attached to a performance level, so that if you want to use it for placement, then you turn onto the score. But for formative assessment, entirely we want to use the qualitative. So when we come to grade, sorry, I was talking about last year when we were designing grade 6 assessment. It was supposed to be for placement. But things turned around and it was not supposed to be used for placement because the learners were supposed to seamlessly transit into junior school. So we were able to report qualitatively. We gave 3 types of report, where we gave an individual learner's report that was actually showing that for each of the subjects, how did the learner perform in each of the questions, and also using meeting expectation, the 4 performance levels that I talked about. We also gave a school-specific report that was actually showing how the school performed in terms of the strands. And we were giving them the difficulty index, the discrimination index for their school, at the same time giving them the 2 indices for the national performance, and they were able to see how they have performed. We were also able to, in the school-specific report, we were able to show the school what gaps having in terms of the subjects and how they could close those gaps. Then we had the national report that now was talking about the achievement of competencies in the different strands or the different topics in the different tasks that we gave nationally in terms of each subject. So it means that when we want to use an assessment for placement, then we will have to do it differently. But the emphasis is to have more formative assessment so that we can improve instruction and we can improve learning, as opposed to when we were only focusing on summative assessments at the end of primary and secondary. The other one is about authenticity of the uploaded scores. Yes, this is a public concern, but as a council, we are on top of things, and we do monitor when the school-based assessments are being administered. We sample schools and go to the schools. And so far, like I said, that in primary, we have been able to show or to see that the teachers are quite objective. You may not miss outliers, but because we have been able to analyze, we have come up with just the normal curve, showing that the teachers are placing the learners where they need to be. But it's because there's a lot of sensitization among the teachers, among the schools, and also the type of tasks that we are giving. If it's a project, it's very difficult that really there will be that inflected score, because you're actually demonstrating or observing and making a recommendation on how the learner has performed. Classroom assessment and subjectivity. I think this is the reason why we have left classroom assessment to the teacher. But for the school-based assessment, we are standardizing it because we want to use a percentage of these school-based assessments to account for the final grade of the learner. So we are standardizing the school-based assessments, but the classroom assessments, we allow learning to take place naturally, and that does not account for the final score. So I think in terms of objectivity, then when we use school-based assessments as a percentage of the final score, then that would be okay, because we are at least having some greater control in terms of the tools. We are sure that the tools being subjected to all the learners are the same, they are uniform, and even in terms of reporting, then we can be able to report on the performance of the different tasks uniformly. In terms of population, we are talking of about 1.3 million learners for each grade, starting from grade 3. So 1.2, 1.3 million learners for our schools. How many years we have done this? We started this in 2018. 2018, we did a pilot with grade 3, and then we have continued to assess all the way from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. We have been able to assess the practical and project component that we give in second term, and the written assessments will be done in the third term. The findings of assessment, we do analyze the outcomes, and again, we give feedback through our portal and also through dissemination, through dialogues that we are able to do across the country when that is possible. The other one was about the learner and whether they are able to interpret. Yes, the learner is able to interpret the assessment rubrics and the performance and the qualitative reporting, because the way we have also trained the teachers is that we are moving away from the fact that the marking scheme is hidden from the student. When you use the rubrics, you give the student the question and the rubric, and they discuss. They know what is the expectation at the beginning of the task. And therefore, they are even able to assess themselves first, even before the teacher does the assessment. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Aeaa. I'm responding on one of the questions that was asked by our Nigerian delegate on how is it that UNESCO can be able to support you to do one of the studies that we have showcased today. I just would like to give you a shortcut to the process. After tea, let us meet out there. I will explain to you how Kenya managed to do this AMPLAB project, having just attended a session like you have done. And we followed her and asked her questions, and we were able to do the linking, and we were able to start the process, and we were able to do the AMPLAB project, and now we are able to report on the successes of the same. In the interest of time, we can have a short discussion just out there, and I can link you up to the process, fast track you, so that you can be able to have that implemented in Nigeria. Is that okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, presenters. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the morning session, which was the plenary, with these three presenters. Please, let's give them a round of applause for the informative presentation. And once again, this is where we end. The Master of Ceremony will come and take over the stage now to tell us the next program, where we go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for the chair, the panelists as they leave. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Dr. Moretsi Tsobega, for that session, and thank you very much, delegates. Just a couple of quick announcements to be made. Just bear with me, I won't take very long. First, access to the conference breakaway rooms and meals available only to delegates who are wearing the badge. So please remember to have your badge all the time. Country team leaders requested to report to the registration desk today at 4 p.m. to collect forms for confirmation of names to enable the printing of certificates. That's important, just take note of that. For any assistance, information, the health desk is stationed at the main reception area and will be operational throughout the day. We are also advised to keep checking the Aeaa. That's how we are teaching these days in Kenya. They haven't told us that we have changed the alphabet. The website for updated program on a daily basis. There are changes happening all the time, as is normal. And this morning you already saw we had a few of those. Hard copies of the program available as we exit. The registration desk has moved to the first floor. The staircase is there, and there's only one destination. Just follow the staircase in the event that you have anything to do there. Previous journals for the 37th and 38th conferences are available for purchase at the registration desk. The cost is 10 USD. Any delegate who wishes to purchase a copy, visit the registration desk. The excursion tours tomorrow, very important, Wednesday the 23rd. For those participating, you are expected to wear the white Aeaa polo shirt. This is very important because where we are going, there will be other parties as well, and it's useful that sometimes in environments such as those, we are able to know that there are our troops. Yes, so you will still be picked up at 7 a.m. from your hotels to Safari Park to enable the boarding of the respective vehicles and receipt of the excursion bag. There will be a bag for the excursion. The breakaway rooms, room 1, Ivory, room 2, Tsavo, room 3, Samburu, room 4, Masai Mara, Mount Kenya. Masai Mara is also known as Mount Kenya D. Mount Kenya D. Take note of that. And then room 6 is Bougainville. Lunch will be served today at the Nyama Choma restaurant, which is somewhere to my left. And it will be there from 1 o'clock pronto. You will only require a delegate badge like this one to access the dining area. So there will be no special handbills to be given. Assistance information, we have said this, the reception area. Dinner this evening, the same venue as yesterday. And this evening we will be celebrating the West African delegates and delegations. So West Africans, you saw what happened last evening, come ready. We tried to bring Cameroon back home, and they said no, they want to belong to West Africa or Central Africa. They are still not decided. Yeah? And so we expect that in the fullness of time, they will pick up the queue from DRC and join us in East Africa. So meanwhile, let's take tea and let's arrange to be in the breakaway rooms by 11:15. A big clap for everybody for this morning's session. I thank you very much, and I continue to enjoy the proceedings. Let's clap for him as he walks in. Karibu, karibu, karibu sana, welcome. Bwana Francis, most welcome. Accompanied by the Principal Secretary, Ministry for Education. Fantastic, crescendo, majestic, diminuendo, beautiful music. We are here to celebrate potential.